Dr. HR Nagendra, how did you become interested in the science of yoga?
As I moved from mechanical to human engineering. Mechanical was too mechanical, and human system is so fascinating and complicated, sophisticated, a big challenge. So we have to study this human system. And in our earlier times when I was in institute doing my doctorate, we were a group of people, and we used to really discuss in-depth understanding as to whether this modern science and what we are doing research is going to really take us towards that reality. Because the objective of all research is to find reality. And soon we used to get the answer, no, it's not taking us. Then what is the way out? It was then that we were exposed to Upanishads, which deals with the science of reality. And that's how we got fascinated with the Jnana Yoga, or what do you call it, the Upanishadic approach. Upanishad is, I call, the science of Vedas, in which you have to ask questions, deeper questions, fundamental questions, wonderful questions you have to ask. And there is going to be an interaction of the teacher and student, interaction. And then once the interaction starts, you make a hypothesis, test the hypothesis, and repeatedly test that hypothesis, and then look at the final result. This is the whole methodology called as Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Jnana. That's the approach of the Upanishads. So, what do these Upanishads really tell us? It tells us that we are not just this physical body that we are seeing, but there are 4 more layers. They may call 4 more bodies, or 4 more koshas, and whatever. And these things are not seen. But if I make my eyes very, very sharp and very deep, I'll be able to see your pranamaya kosha, often called as aura. And you can see different colors, and you can find out how much is the imbalance and all that. Great yoga masters used to do that. Then we have a bigger one, Manomaya kosha. And then Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya kosha. So 5 layers. And this is not only the physical body, even outside in the world. We have the physical world called the Annamaya kosha, then the subtle worlds, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnana, Anandamaya koshas. And this forms the entirety of our creation called as Jagat. The meaning of Jagat is that which changes. Jagatyam Jagat, as it is said. So all these things go on changing. For example, the physical body. In a day, a billion cells get created, a billion cells get destroyed. So since we came here, few minutes ago, already our bodies have changed. So change is the feature of this creation, and they are governed by different laws. And in the physical world, we have unraveled the laws, Newton's laws of motion, quantum mechanics. All this we have unraveled of the physical. But what about the pranic, wind, Vijnanamaya kosha and others? They have got more generalized laws that all were unraveled by our ancient seers. And they also understood what is the structure. Modern science has told that everything is nothing but packets of energy called quarks. Similarly, in the pranamaya kosha is all called prana. Pranasyadam vashe sarvam tridiveyat pratishtha. And what are the laws that govern them? Similarly, people went on understanding the deeper and deeper dimensions of this whole creation. Then beyond all that is changing, there is something that does not change. And that's our original self. And that is the self of all of us. That is the original state from where the whole creation has come. This creation is infinite, that also is infinite. So, Purnamadaha, Purnamidam. What is the relation between the two? Purnat Purnam Budachyate. This fullness, this entire fascinating infinite world has come from the source which is also infinite. And when this comes out of that thing, then what remains there is the same. It does not change. Because the law is infinity minus infinity can be infinity. So that is the whole essence of the Upanishads.
Now the question is that these are the finest aspect of human consciousness. How to make them relevant for the modern younger generations of India, because there seems to be very little interest in this direction.
Correct.
So how to make this knowledge relevant to the present day people?
This is where yoga comes into picture. This is the knowledge, philosophy, modern science. How to bring it to our day-to-day action. That's where yoga comes into picture. So Vivekananda said there are 4 main streams of yoga. One, using your intellect, power of discrimination, power of analysis. You go deeper and deeper to the source from where all intellect emerges. That's called the Gnana Yoga. Similarly, we have to handle the emotions. To gain mastery over the emotions is called the Bhakti Yoga. Similarly, gain mastery over the mind is the Patanjali Yoga, or called as the Raj Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. And it has to be brought into day-to-day activities. Otherwise, it's not of much use. That is the Karma Yoga. Convert every action into a yoga. That is where yoga comes into picture. But unfortunately, people think yoga is some sort of a physical exercise. That's their limitation. But yoga is a vast science, in-depth science, which gives you the whole dimension. And if you have this total knowledge base and all the associated practices, it can solve all the challenges of the modern era.
Could you give me an example to make it more relevant to, say, a modern professional in Bangalore?
Exactly, right. So, one of the challenges that the modern youth deal with is the stress. Stress is mounting high. So, how to deal with the stress? Modern science has understood stress is a response pattern to the demanding situations. Demanding situations are for everybody, but different people respond differently for different situations. So this is the response that's called as the stress. It is a response pattern. The objective of this response pattern is to prepare us to face the demanding situation. So there is going to be an autonomic arousal and all these things happen. And the whole objective is, during a demanding situation, system goes into imbalance, and that has to be brought back to the normalcy, called restoring the homeostasis. That's what is needed. But unfortunately, what's happened today is the number of challenges are so long and so vast, and we don't have the time to come back. We're trying to come back again another thing. All the number of demanding situation. And we have become very perfectionist attitude and very sensitive. Small things can trigger off and again causes. So as a result, what happened over months and years, it stabilizes in an imbalanced state. Therefore, the sugar level which has become high will stabilize and you become a diabetic. And blood pressure which has gone high will get stabilized, you have a hypertension. All types of modern ailments because of the stress. Stress-induced disorders, in a sense you can say.
Yeah, there's a lot of, this is called a lifestyle disease nowadays, heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, asthma, depression is, your mental health is again. Now, one of the objectives, I was reading literature regarding your institute, one of the objective is to make India free from diabetes, Madhumeha Mukta Bharat. And diabetes, India is now known as the diabetic capital of the world. How big is this problem and how it can be addressed? What are you doing in this direction?
So basically, that imbalance which gets set has to be brought back to balance. That is where yoga comes into picture. Yoga brings that mastery to bring system back to balance. And using that, now we started working on various ailments, including diabetes. So far, we had dealt with about 25,000 diabetics. And a number of them have been able to bring back that homeostasis and have been able to retain their normalcy. Sugar levels which are very high, taking medication. Normally, what happens when they start doing yoga practice is at least 1 hour you have to do practice of yoga, in which we give very deep relaxation technique called as cyclic meditation, this avartan dhyan. In that cyclic meditation, the amount of rest that you get is very, very large. For example, if you sleep for 6 hours, good sleep, you get about 9% reduction in metabolic rate. Whereas if you do that in 35 minutes, the metabolic rate comes down by 32%. So within half an hour, you can get 3 times more rest than good sleep. Therefore, people have started using that. Once you give deep rest to the system, the whole system gets rejuvenated. Not only the pancreatic beta cells, but also your entire set of systems will all get rejuvenated and system starts becoming normalized. On this basis we started working on that. For the last 35 years we have been improvising, developing and doing that and finding wonderful results. So the first work that we did here in Royal Free Hospital in London with Dr. Nagendra, that paper we published in British Journal of Complementary Medicine. So this is how we started, and slowly developing the things. We had randomized control trials, 1 year follow-up of diabetes and others, and finding out how the things change. All these things we started doing, and we have published many papers in that area. So we are sort of convinced that yes, it is going to work. And about 25,000 diabetics getting the benefits and others. So using this, we wanted to say that okay, can we make India the Madhumeha Mukta Bharat? Because as you rightly said, India is going to become the diabetic capital of the world. At present, China is number 1, India is number 2. Because normally, as Indians, we have the highest insulin resistance. As a result, we are prone to become diabetic. In our earlier times, the lifestyle was so good, that we used to take very normal, simple diet, and we used to have a lot of exercise, physical exercise. Now everything is changed. And we used to sleep nicely after the sunset about 8:30, 9 o'clock, get up early in the morning, sunrise. Now the whole thing has changed. People sleep very late, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, get up morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. A big imbalance of the biosystem is going to take place. Similarly, food, we eat very high calorie food and high cholesterol diet and others, and no exercise. But everywhere you can go, by your vehicles, cars, things have come. Hardly you have any physical exercise. In the houses of our housewives, used to do a lot of physical things. But now everything you have machinery and so on. This way what has happened is, that which is being controlled by a lifestyle of physical exercise and less of stressors, less of mental, these things all have changed. A new way of life has come. This has started triggering off the possibility of the diabetes coming up. Therefore, diabetes coming up very big, very fast. Even in the villages, in one of the surveys that was done about 10 years back in the village of Tamil Nadu, the incidence used to be about 4% diabetes. But last year when the survey came up, it has gone up to 14% in the village of Tamil Nadu. Therefore, the villages also have started picking up the urbanization process and this thing, and they also go on watching TV and other things like this. As a result, things have started changing. So what is needed is a lifestyle change, and that's what we do through the yoga dimension. So we are not against any medicine, and whoever has to take the medicine, let them take the medicine. It can be modern medicine. Some people use Ayurveda, some people the Unani, the Siddha, any medicine they will be taking. Predominantly modern medical things they do that. And we start giving the yoga dimension to them. And slowly as the benefits start accruing, then the sugar levels start coming under the control and the quality of life is going to change, and you start changing your lifestyle, and slowly as the sugar levels become normal. Then our doctors, like Dr. HR and others say, okay, now we don't need so much of tablet, drop off 1 tablet or 2 tablets, or maybe insulin you reduce. And slowly over maybe months and years, your system will get normalized and you can taper off all the medication. There's thousands of such cases that we have been able to drop off medication, and they're leading a very normal life. But their lifestyle has changed. Without lifestyle change, this will not happen. Every day morning at least about 1 hour they do the practice, in which they charge their batteries and work through a stress-free lifestyle. That is very important. Also that brings the control over the food also. All these things help in making this problem. Based on that we started this Stop Diabetes movement about 5 years back in Karnataka, then Maharashtra, then 8 different stages we started spreading. And we wanted to find out what is the minimum duration that we have to give as camps to bring some results, showable results. Initially it used to be almost 21 days, then made it 15 days, then 1 week. Now we have tapered off on 1 week, every day about 2.5 hours. In the camp, they come there, and 1 hour of theory and 1 hour of practice and interactions, all these things, and they start getting the benefit. Within 1 week, we are able to show that about 20 units of fasting blood glucose can be reduced. And then we thought, okay, in India it can work, what about in United States and other things? So we started doing that thing in Houston, Texas, and then in Los Angeles and in San Francisco. The results were as good as these things. So based on that, we got some confidence, yes, now we'll be able to scale up the whole dimension. So during the International Day of Yoga, from 20th, we had the measurement, 21st to 27th were the 7 days camp, and 28th again we made the measurement, and throughout the country, with the help of various like-minded organizations, we joined together, and 1,500 camps were done, 56,000 people underwent this whole program, and many are now going on, further camps are going on. And our objective is not stop up to 7 days, we have to follow them up. What happens after 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, how the things are going to change. Because this is the bigger challenge for that, follow. So that we are working out the modalities of doing that and using the technology and apps and other things to see how this can be done. And at the end of 1 year, if you have the full data of 50,000 to 1 lakh of people, then it's going to be the biggest ever project in diabetes, and the curve probably is going to come down. Then the government can take up in all over the villages and others, see that it can spread. And in the next years to come, the growing curve of diabetes should be brought down. That is our ambitious project that we have taken up.
Dr. HR Nagendra, you are the Chancellor of Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Sansthan, which is supposed to be one of the biggest universities giving education about yoga. What kind of other scientific research into various aspects of yoga you are carrying on in your university, sir?
The basic physiological changes that occur when you do the different practices, when you do asana, when you do pranayama, when you do meditation, kriyas, mudras, bandhas, how the system is going to change. So what is happening at the brain level, at the autonomic nervous system level, at different neuroendocrinological systems. And now we have set up a very sophisticated lab in which we can measure even the gene expressions, gene sequencing and others. So we will be able to map what is happening to the entire physical system when we give the yoga dimension. This is what the modern medical system and others would like to have. So based on this research, what are the types of practices that are the most beneficial for different ailments? We have started working on that thing. We have made already such modules way back in 1991 itself, but we are updating it, improvising that. That is one side. So similarly, in the education system, we want to bring this total personality development of the children, physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, and how to bring about this, what are the modules. So we had developed 10 modules, for example, eyesight improvement, voice culture, hearing development, memory development, concentration development, physical stamina development, all that we had done, 10 classes, 10 different modules, and we had done the research. Now we are improvising that and bringing all these things into the education system. Fortunately, during this IDY, the government wanted that yoga should go to all the schools, for all the teachers, and we developed the syllabus for them and then given the National Council of Teachers Education is bringing this to all the teachers. About 28 lakh teachers in India are going to get this. And the school education from class 10 up to 12, there is going to be the yoga made compulsory all through the country. And this is how we are taking it.
You mentioned Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's been the prime spirit behind this International Yoga Day, of course, with your association. Could you tell us something about your association with the Prime Minister?
He started coming to Prashanti Kutiram almost from 20 years. He has come several times. And then later on, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, we used to go, and then he wanted to introduce yoga to his entire cabinet. And once a year, we used to go, our entire team, and we used to introduce yoga to not only him, to his cabinet people and the MPs of all. We were doing that. So he has seen our growth, and what he likes in us is the scientific research dimension, evidence-based, which is most important. Compared to a lot number of yoga institutions all over the world, there is no institution which is based on scientific research. That's what he likes. And this is in tune with the modern times, evidence-based scientific research. And we have published the largest number of papers in the world. And we are, in a sense, the research leaders in the field of yoga research in the whole world. As a result, people like this. Therefore, he has taken a fancy. And another work that we have been doing is to build all the yoga masters into one whole. I remember in 1973, there was a big conference in Delhi in which all the yoga masters had come. They wanted to standardize. But everybody wanted to project their own thing and said, this should be the standard, this should be the standard, this should be standard. They went into such quarrels, They came almost hitting each other physically. All the delegates, about 700 who had come there, they literally cried and said, if it is the condition of our yoga masters, we don't want to go anywhere near yoga. And that day I literally cried. How to build all these people together. 30 years we have taken to achieve this. I went to the teachers, I learned from them and then praised them and then developed them and then brought friendship and love and affection, all the yoga things, and we have been able to build. So this also he knows. Therefore he said that you have to bring all the yoga masters to have a common yoga protocol. It's not easy.
Coming back to our Prime Minister, how much time he devotes every day doing yoga?
At least morning about an hour, hour and a half, and evening whenever he gets time, half an hour to 1 hour, he does this thing. But more important is it's not just doing a particular practice either in the morning or evening. It has become a way of life, So every action should become a yoga, So how does it happen? That happens when you have a complete inner blissful awareness and do all the action in that blissful awareness. In Bhagavad Gita it's called yogastaha purukarmani. But tuned to the self, you do all activities. This is what a dancing girl with a pot on the head from Kerala does that. When she does the dancing, she is so careful that it should not lose the gravitation. And all the time she is anchored to that inner awareness. So we have to be anchored into that inner blissful awareness of our Anandamaya Kosha and do all activity. This is the whole essence of yoga, which he has caught. He is so sharp, so wonderful. He has got this and he has started translating that into action. And cyclic meditation is a wonderful tool to develop this awareness. So he likes this Avartan Dhyan very much, and he had introduced this to all his cabinet ministers earlier in Gujarat. Now also he is promoting a large number of other people also to take up this thing. In the cabinet secretary and their entire team, we did a one-day program for this MET, and they all liked it. Like that, it's going to grow.
So where do we go from here now? And what's the future of yoga in India and also in the world?
In India, it has gone into the education system, and as a result of that, there's a continuous growth of every child shaping themselves up. This is what we did in 1976 onwards at the primary, middle school and high school levels in Arunachal Pradesh and the Northeast and Andaman Nicobar Island. All these places we have done, and the children have blossomed like wonderful flowers. Now, this is what is going to happen the world over. And the Ayush Ministry he has set up exclusively to have an independent charge, and that will help to bring the specialities of yoga and the Ayush system into the health care delivery systems. And we want to have an integrated system. So the mainstream modern medicine and then Ayush, both of them should come, and gradually every system have its own role to play. Modern medical system is very good on certain points and cannot be used for all the things. Similarly, yoga, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, all these things have limited region as to where they will be most effective. So a thing of integration has to be brought forth. A synergetic healthcare delivery system has to be brought forth. So when a patient comes, looking at his challenges and problems, he should be able to give the best of every system and give him the best result.
Dr. HR Nagendra, thank you very much indeed.